Hey, what's up? This is Chosen, and this video is going to be a champion guide for Madame Serris, so let's get into it. Alrighty, here we go. Let's go ahead and pull up Madame Serris. She is in the Dark Elves, and she is the Void Epic support down here. First of all, I'm glad I have not done my coolest looking champions video yet, because she will definitely be on the list. Love the aesthetics, love the staff emitting the green, and you know, her whole outfit and hat. Just a very, very cool looking champion. So they nailed it on the aesthetics of this character. As we get into her kit, we've got a base speed of 100 and a character that is based on attack. An A1 that attacks one enemy with a 20% chance of placing a fear debuff for one turn. This chance increases to 30% if the target is under one debuff, which is pretty common. And this chance increases to 45% if the target is under two or more debuffs. So her A1 will bring a lot of utility if you have her in a comp that places poisons or with other debuffers. She'll be placing those fears pretty consistently with that A1. Alright. Then we've got an A2 that is an AoE on a 3-turn cooldown when booked, with a 40% chance of stealing one random buff from each target. Places a block debuffs buff on all allies for 2 turns if any buff is stolen. Places a true fear debuff for 1 turn on enemies who have buff stolen. This is an insane A2. In the right situation, when she actually is against enemies that have a buff, like any sort of buff, and she steals it, this is so much utility. Block debuffs is an incredible buff, and True Fear is an incredible debuff. It's an AoE, so yeah, this ability is amazing if you can get it in the right situation against enemies that have buffs, which is pretty common. Then we've got the A3 here. Remove all buffs from all enemies, places a 50% decrease attack debuff and a 60% decreased defense debuff on all enemies for 3 turns. So that is big. If we can get the Master Hexer to make that 4 turns, this effect is going to be basically permanent because it's on a 4-turn cooldown when booked. Alright, passive places a shield buff on this champion equal to 10% of their max HP at the start of each turn. When attacked while under a shield buff, has a 35% chance of placing a fear debuff on the attacker for 1 turn. A passive is always nice to have on a champion, and a passive that places fear and places shield brings a ton of general utility, so I love the passive there. The kit in general is very good, and let me pull up. I make one of these for all of my champion guides. It's going to be an infographic that kind of shows the current masteries that I use on the character and kind of their grades in general and optimal sets and all that. I will go over how I came to these conclusions. Alright, so epic grades we see there on the right. Campaign B+. I will show you her farming the campaign, the end game, like 12-3 on Brutal. She's pretty good at the campaign. She has an AoE on a 3-turn cooldown. She places debuffs, but she's not like a god tier campaign speed farmer, so B+ there. Clan Boss. She doesn't bring a whole lot of utility to the Clan Boss, but she does have that A3 that places decreased attack and decreased defense. So she does have a little bit of utility, so I can't grade her, terribly, but she gets a C. She's not going to be like end game meta for the Clan Boss, but she's, usable for the early to mid game. Arena is an A. She will probably perform a little bit better on arena defense than offense, but it can definitely kind of snowball out of control and win you some battles in the arena with her utility. And then Dungeons and Faction Wars, she's going to get an A+. She's amazing versus the waves and the trash mobs. Remember, Faction Wars, we fight bosses less often. It's usually just 3 waves of trash mobs. So she is a definite A+ god tier champion in the Faction Wars. She's also Void, so she'll never be weak. She's going to be usable in basically every level. So definite A+ in Dungeons and Faction Wars. Now, we'll see here if we look at the Masteries. Very important to go down the support tree, get the accuracy, the Lore of Steel, the Sniper, and the Master Hexer. Turn meter manipulation is okay on her because she's a debuffer, so it's okay to boost her turn meter, and that should be fine. And I went down the attack tree, scaling towards kind of being useful in the arena, going towards the first hit bonus and the crit damage. If you're going to use her in the Clan Boss, you're going to want to go War Master, the one on the bottom left there on the offense tree. But as always with Masteries, you want to use this as a general guideline, but form your own opinions based on what you're using the champion for. This is the Masteries that I use on her currently. use that as a starting point, but go through and form your own opinions when you're building her. So as far as sets, we can get good speed on her, and she's based on attack, so we want her to have crit rate and hit hard with crit damage and a high attack. She's a good candidate for the speed set because you're mainly going to be using her in faction wars and dungeons and arena. Speed set is kind of viable in all of those areas. So if you have a good shield set, I said speed set, which is true, but also if you have a good shield set, she can be a good candidate for, you know, one that wears that. So alrighty, let's put that away and let's go ahead and pull up mine here. I always do that. I go back to the index. All right, here we go. Also, by the way, I forgot to mention, one of the coolest looking avatars. I absolutely love her little, like, thumbnail portrait. One of the cooler ones in the game. I also really love skull crowns. Those are two of the cooler, like, thumbnail portraits. So I just wanted to kind of point that out quick. All right. But as we can see here, I kind of threw my Madame Serris. I just kind of got her maxed out yesterday. So definitely not like perfectly optimized right now. You can see I haven't even used glyphs yet or anything, but she's definitely performing well and she is max geared. The crit rate is a little high. I need to optimize that, maybe get the crit damage up a little bit and sacrifice a little bit of crit rate. We want her crit rate to be probably 15 plus 85 to get that 100%. And, you know, generally you're looking for, you know, main stats on your bottom pieces are going to be crit rate, attack percent, and speed. And we can see here that I did use her as my shield set wearer for dungeons and faction wars to kind of bring that little bit of sustain to my team. And then cruel set is incredible for her. It's going to increase her attack and let her ignore defense, which is very good in dungeons and the arena. I kind of went over her masteries, but if you want like the full screen screenshot of it or anything, this is kind of that for you. And I already kind of went over my reasoning on some of that when I had the infographic up. Alrighty, so now let's go ahead and, as promised, I will show you her farming the campaign. Remember, she's void, so the level isn't really going to matter. That's kind of handy. She's never really going to be weak. It does kind of stink that she doesn't have an aura, so if you do use her as a campaign farmer, you're going to get that pop-up constantly. I really wish they would fix that. Like, after someone's account gets to, like, level 20 or 30, that pop-up shouldn't come up anymore. Alright, so we'll put it on auto. We can see she is able to use her AoE to kill the first wave. Then she places a bunch of debuffs. Her A1 is able to knock down these mobs. So she's definitely an okay champion at farming the arena. She's endgame viable. She's just not like a god tier, you know, super AoE speed farmer in the campaign. But she is capable of doing it, so that's always handy. And there we go. We've got, remember, I don't have any food here, so it would have been a little slower. It would have been about 40 to 45 seconds probably. So capable at farming the campaign, but definitely not like a super, you know, god tier campaign speed farmer. Alrighty, and now let me show you my Madame Serris in arena. I do use her on my arena team. There's a couple different reasons. One is the fact that she's void, so she'll never be weak to any opponent, and she does prioritize her AoE, so she'll come behind and clean up, you know, whatever my skull crown doesn't finish off. So this is obviously going to be a super easy fight, but just to show you the rotation here, so my Arbiter will boost my team, the Dracomorph will debuff the enemy team, Skull Crown comes behind, nukes everybody, and then if anybody survives, my Madame Serris will come through and clean it up with her AoE. But one of the cool things about Madame Serris is teams like this are very common. Teams with Skull Crown on them are super used in arena, and Skull Crown can be annoying to deal with because she places that unkillable buff. Remember, Madame Serris can steal that. It's not perfectly reliable. It's not a 100% chance, but there's like a 50-50 shot that she steals that buff from Skull Crown, and we can go ahead and mow her down a lot quicker than normal. Okay, so there we see there's my nuke, and Skull Crown is left here with the unkillable buff. Now, my Madame Serris will prioritize her ability that steals it. It's just a 50-50 shot on whether she lands it or not. And there, you know, it didn't proc, so that was kind of annoying, but if it does, we're able to mow down the Skull Crown a little bit easier than normal. So it's kind of handy to have someone that steals buffs. We'll try this one here. We'll see if we can't get it to work. We'll see if I can't get some RNG here and actually show you how it works against the Skull Crown here. Okay, so there it is. This is a super common occurrence in the arena. It happens every time. And boom, there we go. So we stole the unkillable and placed a fear, and then we're able to just go ahead and mow down the Skull Crown. So if I was on auto, it would have gone a lot quicker there. We're able to just deal with Skull Crown a lot easier. And with her being one of the most common champions in the game for arena, that does make Madame Serris very usable in the arena. It kind of improves your quality of life in the arena and dealing with those Skull Crowns everywhere. Okay, and now let me go ahead and go through the champion review screen, and we'll go ahead and grade her live. She actually has less than 100 reviews. She's a very new champion. She was part of that really recent Void summoning event, and she was just introduced to the game, so not a lot of people have her maxed out yet. So we'll go ahead and go through and kind of grade her here. So first thing that jumps off the board that's kind of interesting to me is she grades out higher on here in arena offense than arena defense. I actually think she's slightly better on defense than offense, because we want her to kind of go second and steal buffs and place fear. If she goes first when the enemies don't have any buffs yet, she's not going to steal anything or place any fears. So I'm actually going to give her a 4. She's still definitely very good on offense, but I'm going to give her a 4 on offense and give her a 5 on defense. Campaign locations, again, she's good. She's just not a god tier speed farmer, so we'll give her a 4. Magic Keep, she's actually a 5, because in the Magic Keep she has an ability to steal buffs, and we obviously know she's very good against trash mobs. So in those waves and dungeons, she's going to be very good. And then with her ability to steal the shield buff, she's a definite 5 here in the Magic Keep. Spider Den, she's got that 1 AoE ability on a 3-turn cooldown. I don't know if a whole lot of her kit is going to help you in the end game of the Spider Den. She's definitely going to be good in kind of the early to mid game in the Spider Den, but I wouldn't say she's like great there. I'm going to give her a 3. Void Keep, we'll give her a 5. She'll do great in kind of any sort of farming scenario. Dragon, again, yeah, the Dragon can have some tough trash mobs, so placing fears is pretty good. We'll give her that. Spirit, again, the Spirit boss has, when you get to the boss, it has that block debuffs buff. Her ability to steal that can really help you dealing with that boss, so I'll give her a 5 there. Clan boss, remember, really her only utility is going to be the decreased defense and decreased attack, which is good, but other than that, not really that great. I don't think she's super endgame viable in the clan boss in general, so I'll give her a 2 there. And then Ice Golem, yeah, she's void, so she's never weak, and she really helps you. She's going to remove the reflect damage on wave 2. I'm going to give her a 5 there. Minotaur, she's a definite 5. Remember, she places that decreased attack, which is important in the Minotaur, and she'll really help you in dealing with the trash waves and the boss, so lots of utility. We'll go with a 5. Forest Keep, again, it's just kind of your standard kind of dungeon, which she's great at. And Fire Knight is actually the one that she's probably not going to be very good in. She's got that you know, single hit A1 versus the Fire Knight. We want champions that bring counterattack, reflect damage, or multi-hit A1s or heal reduction. So someone like Coldheart that has a 3-hit A1 with heal reduction as well in her kit is good. That's kind of what we're looking for. So I'm going to give her a 2 here. She'll be really good against the trash mobs, but she's not going to be that great in the boss fight. One thing that's kind of interesting is they need to add grades here for the Arcane Keep and Faction Wars. Those are kind of 2 that jump out of me that are missing here, so I'll go ahead and rate those. Obviously, like I said earlier, she's an A+ in Faction Wars, and she would be a 5. So basically, she'd be a 5 in both of those, the Arcane Keep and the Faction Wars. So let's see what they recommend for artifacts, and I'll see if I agree here. I mean, I guess this would work. This is kind of using her as like only a support, as kind of a debuffer, just kind of making sure she can stay alive. That would be fine, I guess, for certain dungeons, but if you want to use her in the arena and stuff, it'd be nice to have her hit harder, especially if you're trying to speed farm with her as well. So I don't really agree with this fully, but it's not like crazy moronic or anything. There we go. So there's those ratings. Alrighty, and that's going to kind of do it for this champion guide on Madame Serris. So in general, very cool champion. Love everything about her. She plays a good role in the game, and definitely a very well-designed champion in my opinion. So let me know what you think down in the comments, and as always, have a good rest of your day. Thanks for watching. Peace.